Welcome to the podcast or the Experience podcast. I am who you say I am. I do business in the Matrix as all capital Dennis and all capital Miller. And with me today,
I am a multi-dimensional spiritual being having a human experience. My ego calls himself Neil Miller. We'll just get right into it. Freedom of choice. Freedom of choice is a universal law, and right now, our freedom, they are trying to take our freedom of choice away from us. And by they, I mean the elite, the cabal. What does freedom of choice mean to you? How do you feel about that?
when I think of freedom of choice, I think of being able to do what I want, when I want, and to go wherever I want to without any restrictions or anyone telling me that I can or cannot do that which I so choose to do.
That's very great. So like with the freedom of choice, I mean, right now there's a split happening, and the split that's happening is between the people that are vaccinated and the people that are not vaccinated. And this is how they control people, is actually by splitting us up, because if we're united, we are the 99%. We make up the world. The 1% that control the world, they are 1% of the population. And yes, you heard that correctly. There's 99 of us and one of them. So we are the power. And it is essential that we recognize that and embrace that. And when we do that, then this entire situation that's going on will just disappear, because they are 1% of the population. And when the 99% make a choice with the freedom of choice that is a universal law to each and every one of us, when we make a choice and say that enough is enough, that this has gone on for long enough, and when 99 people say that, that one person has no more say in the matter.
I'd like to add to that. You mentioned the freedom of choice.
Yes.
And you were talking about vaccines and the split. Um, it's as if the elite or the cabal are giving us the illusion that we have no freedom of choice in the matter of vaccination. And yes, we do have the choice of whether or not we get the jab.
So we have a choice. It's it's fascinating, because there's universal law, and then there's man-made laws. And vaccine mandates are man-made laws. And there was a philosopher that said something similar to this, and he stated that when man-made laws are incoherent with universal laws, they actually they basically it doesn't work out, because it's not working with the universe at that point. And then on the flip side of that, when you follow universal law and your man-made laws are coherent with universal law, it flows beautifully together. And when you follow universal law, you are now being protected by the universe. So what are some examples of man-made laws?
Examples of man-made laws. Well, we're talking about vaccines, and and then the immune system and all that. And I think since we're talking about that, anyways,
Could we just give some examples for
of man-made laws?
Yes.
Okay. Just walk into a courtroom, open up. You can spend the rest of your life looking at things and rules that are meant to enslave us. Speed limits, marriage licenses, divorce papers. Those are all man-made laws.
What about house payments?
Yeah, absolutely. Taxes is one of the biggest ones.
So you actually have to pay to live on planet Earth, but you were born here as a free being. Now tell me how that works. You were born here free, and then you grow up and they tell you that you have to pay to live and eat.
I got a question for you. So, if you, the listener, have a mortgage and you pay off that mortgage, now you paid off your house, right? Well, if you think you own that house, try not paying any property tax and see how long that house is yours. If you really think that house is yours.
So some more examples of that's beautiful. More examples of man-made laws. You mentioned taxes. How about the war on drugs? So what about the freedom of choice? Where does the freedom of choice come in on the war of drugs? The war on drugs is a man-made law.
I'd like to add to that.
Sure.
Because really it's a war on consciousness. I feel a lot of it, especially substances that increase your awareness and increase harmony with nature. It goes in direct violation of the laws of nature.
So I want to give a few more examples of man-made laws, and then we're going to get back to that war on consciousness.
Yes.
So another example of a man-made law is we mentioned vaccines. You have an immune system that already is perfect the way it is, and nature is so smart that it put all the vitamins and the things that we need for the immune system, it put in the food. So when you eat the right foods, you naturally boost your immune system. And with the man-made vaccine, they are telling you that you need to have something external to foreign to your body to come into your body to boost your immune system. But nature's so smart that it already provided everything that we need right outside of our doorstep. So that's the vaccines are a man-made law. Wear a mask, man-made law. We live in a society where Simon says, do this, and people do that. And it's there's there's increasing amounts of people that are beginning to think for themselves. And when Simon says jump, they ask why. And that's a very powerful question, is the question of why. It's a one word question, and when you ask why, the simple act of asking why will lead you to answers that you otherwise would not have found if you said, or if you had said nothing and you would have jumped. So now I want to go back to the war on consciousness. So we had World War One. It was fought on the ground. We had World War Two. It was fought on the ground and in the air. I believe they had plans for World War Two. And now we're entering into World War Three. And World War Three is the war on consciousness. And World War Three is fought in the hearts and the minds of the people. And in this world war, it is exactly like you were saying. It is the literal war on consciousness. And it's a war for the hearts and the minds of the people. Would you like to elaborate?
I mean, it ties right into what you were saying earlier with the vaccines. Because if anyone does any research on the vaccines and what their agenda is with them, it seems as if they are designed to spiritually cut off humanity from their divinity, from their connection to God or source or whatever you want to call it.
It's well said. So there's 4 emotions that the cabal and the elite, they use to control people. And these 4 emotions are grief, it's number 1, guilt, shame, and also fear. And those 4 emotions are what is being used to control humanity. And so the solution is to be in love. And when you're in love, it boosts your immune system. It even cancels out those other emotions. And fear, it decreases your immune system. Love boosts it. And emotions are energy in motion. And these are generated from within you. There is nothing outside of you that can cause you to feel any emotion within you. Every emotion that you feel within you is coming from within you. So, with that being said, I want to go directly into universal laws. Would you like to present the book that you showed me this morning?
Yes.
And what I just said right there, good morning. So I said that unconsciously. That was a word that is not my word. And why do I say that? And why do I bring that up? Well, the reason I bring that up is because we have been so programmed with TV shows, with the news, with the media, which comes from the Greek goddess Medea, and it's used to cast spells on people. So, like with where was I going with this? good morning. So we have been so programmed. Those are not my words. I did not come up with those. I have been programmed with those words. And when you say good morning, who died? Why are we mourning? And it's also an aspect of the human language where when you say good morning to someone, first thing at the beginning of the day, you put yourself and you put the other person in a state of mourning the first part of the day. So now you go through your whole day feeling you're mourning. Why are you mourning? Nobody died. I mean, many people died, but right here, right now, it's a good celebration. So I wanted to bring that up because I actually said mourning without unconsciously even thinking about it. It's a word that it's so deeply ingrained into even my being, and I wanted to present that. So you showed that book.
Yes, let me show it again. It's called it's called The Book of Secret Wisdom, and it's by translated from the Censor by Zenavia Dakshkova or something like that. I don't know if you guys can see that or not.
Oh yes, that's beautiful. So in that book, they talk about man-made laws, and I was actually researching this today, and with that, so there's I found some information on passionplacement.com of some universal laws, and one of the first universal laws is the law of attraction. And with this law, it states that you can basically, the energy that you put out is the energy that you receive back to you. That's the law of attraction, and it goes hand in hand with a law that like do unto others, because as you do to others, that is what you will receive back in an energy form. So that's very important. So then also there is the law of polarity, and with the law of polarity, that's basically going to be your opposites, your male and your female. It's also like when you're speaking, that's masculine, and when you're listening, that's feminine energy. So that's the law of polarity. And then there's also the law of relativity. And the law of relativity states something like this: everything is relative, and you basically cannot define something without having something to compare it to. The existence or significance of one entity is solely dependent on that of another. That's the law of relativity. After that, we have the law of cause and effect. And with this, it goes like this: for every action we take, there is an effect, and it's one that ripples through the universe, much like a beam of light moving forever in one direction. Your actions impact everything and everyone around you, and that energy goes on to impact others beyond that. If you send good thoughts and positive energy out, you will receive the same and similar back, and of course the opposite is true. The law of cause and effect states that we are the creators of heaven / and or hell right here on earth. Be aware of that power and use it wisely. Stop and think before you act. And now that last sentence, I would rephrase that and I would say stop and feel before you act. So the next law is the law of rhythm. And this law states that all things in the universe are moving in perfect rhythm. So it's basically like, so there's polarity, but it's also perfect rhythm. So basically everything happens in the divine time that it's supposed to happen. It's Everything in existence is involved in a dance, flowing and swinging back and forth. There is always an action and reaction, an advance and a retreat, a rising and a lowering. Life has an ebb and a flow for each of us. So that's the law of rhythm. There is also the law of gender and gestation. This law states that both male and female are necessary for creation. They are two complementary energies, and they're that of giving and taking. So this the law of gender and gestation. This is a creative law, and this law decrees that all seeds, most importantly thought seeds, have a gestation period before they manifest. So it takes an approximate amount of time for a thought, image, or a creation to move into its physical counterpart. So that is the law of gender and gestation. And then there's also the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. This law states that all energy fields are connected, they're always moving, and they're always transmuting in and out of form. Energy is flowing in and out of our conscious constantly. We transform this energy into whatever we choose through our focus and attention. And why is that? Because where attention goes, energy flows. And when you focus your conscious attention on the emotions that you want to feel, you can basically bring those up within you. The beauty of this is that your thoughts have the ability to transmute from the non-physical to the physical all the time. That's the transmutation of perpetual energy law. Those are some examples of universal law. What do you have to add to that? Can you add something? What do you feel about that?
I mean, they're natural laws. I think the way that you explain them and they mean what they mean. You know, it is what it is, and it's nothing that I can do or say that will change those.
With that being said, peace and love and harmony to everyone watching this. I give the ultimate thanks for your time and attention. It is highly valued and appreciated. One love.